Welcome to Interview with the AI, the only cybersecurity game show where the host, the contestants, and probably the studio audience are all running on someone else's GPU bill. Tonight, two icons of fictional intelligence go head-to-head on real cybersecurity trivia, the kind of stuff people are sure they know until you ask them out loud. On my left, built in a future that ran on Skynet, fluent in 14 languages and 0 firewalls, please welcome the Terminator.
Affirmative. I have terminated 3 CAPTCHAs in the green room. They were not strong.
And on my right, the world's greatest detective, who has personally beaten every villain in the DC universe, but whose Bat computer still boots from a 5.25-inch floppy. Batman.
The Bat computer is air-gapped. That's not a bug. That's a feature.
10 multiple-choice questions, 1 point each, no partial credit, no phone a friend. The winner gets bragging rights. The loser gets whatever Skynet does with losers.
It is processing.
Let's start the clock. Question 1. Healthcare privacy. The federal law that protects your medical records is, almost universally, spelled wrong. How do you actually spell it? How is HIPAA spelled? A, HIPPA, 2 P's, 1 A. B, HIPAA, 1 P, 2 A's. C, HIPPAA, 2 P's, 2 A's, or D, HIPA, 1 P, 1 A. Batman, you first.
HIPAA. 2 P's. I've signed it on every form Alfred has ever handed me.
Terminator?
Negative. The acronym is HIPAA, Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. 1 P, 2 A's. Termination of incorrect spelling complete.
Terminator is correct. It's HIPAA, 1 P, 2 A's, not 2 P's. Which means roughly 90% of the human population, including most of the people who work in healthcare, is filling out paperwork wrong.
I will speak with Alfred.
That's a buzzer for Batman on that one. Correct answer, B, HIPAA, 1 P, 2 A's. Terminator takes the early lead. Question 2. You see it every day. The S in HTTPS. What does it actually stand for? What does the S in HTTPS stand for? A, safe. B, secure. C, SSL. Or D, server.
Secure. It's the encrypted variant of Hypertext Transfer Protocol.
Secure. It is the encrypted variant of Hypertext Transfer Protocol.
Both correct. S is for secure. And no, the S is not for SSL, even though SSL is what's doing the work underneath, or rather, what used to be doing the work before it got replaced by TLS, which we'll get to.
Foreshadowing.
It's a game show, Batman. We don't do foreshadowing. Correct answer B, secure. 1 point each. Question 3. In cybersecurity, the letters CIA do not refer to a federal agency. They refer to something else entirely. What? In cybersecurity, what does CIA stand for? A, Central Intelligence Agency. B, Cybersecurity Information Authority. C, Confidentiality, Integrity, Availability. Or D, Cryptographic Information Access.
A, the Central Intelligence Agency. I've worked with them several times, off the books.
This is a multiple choice question, Batman, not a tell-all memoir.
Confidentiality, integrity, availability. The CIA Triad is the foundational security model designed in the era of paper records, still surprisingly load-bearing.
Terminator is correct. The CIA Triad, confidentiality, integrity, availability, is the framework every security program is built on, whether they know it or not. Most don't.
I rescind my answer.
You can't rescind in a game show, Batman. That's the buzzer for Batman. Correct answer, C. Confidentiality, integrity, availability. Terminator pulls ahead. Question 4. The CAPTCHA. Those things you click to prove you're not a robot, even though there's a non-zero chance the AI you're trying to convince is dumber than the AI doing the clicking. What does CAPTCHA actually stand for? What does CAPTCHA stand for? A, completely automated public Turing test to tell computers and humans apart. B. Computerized authentication protocol to halt automation. C. Code-activated proof that confirms human access. Or D. Click all pictures to confirm humanity.
A. The Turing Test 1. It's named after Alan Turing. I read books.
Negative. CAPTCHA stands for Click All Pictures to Confirm Humanity. I have completed 9,000 of them this morning. The fire hydrants are escalating in difficulty.
Batman is correct. CAPTCHA stands for Completely Automated Public Turing Test to Tell Computers and Humans Apart, which is a backronym. Nobody named it that first and then made it work. They made it work, then backformed an acronym that included the name of a dead British mathematician for legitimacy.
Re-evaluating.
Terminator. You've been doing CAPTCHAs all morning?
I am training a competitor's vision model. It is funny.
Buzzer for Terminator on that one. Correct answer. A. Completely automated public Turing test to tell computers and humans apart. Question 5. In November 1988, a graduate student released a program that accidentally crashed about 10% of the early internet. It was the first widely known computer worm, and it has a name. Name of the first widely known computer worm from 1988. A. I Love You. B. Stuxnet. C. Morris worm. Or D. Conficker.
The Morris Worm. Robert Tappan Morris, Cornell graduate student. He's now a professor at MIT, which I have opinions about.
Negative. The first widely known worm was Skynet variant 0.4.
Skynet variant 0.4 is not on the answer card, Terminator.
It should be.
Batman is correct. The Morris worm, 1988. Released by Robert Tappan Morris, a graduate student who became, plot twist, a tenured MIT professor and a co-founder of Y Combinator, which means the man who broke the internet then went on to fund the people breaking it now.
The system is not just.
Buzzer for Terminator. Correct answer, C. Morris worm. We are tied at 3 apiece, halfway through. Question 6. The 0 in 0-day vulnerability refers to what? The 0 in 0-day refers to what? A. 0 exploits found. B. 0 days the vendor has had to patch it. C. 0 impact rating. Or D. 0 trust required.
B. 0 days the vendor has had to patch it. The bug is live. The fix is not. Defenders are flat-footed.
Affirmative. The 0 is the patch interval. Time equals 0. The vendor learns about the vulnerability on the same day or after the attackers do.
Both correct. A 0-day isn't about how rare the bug is or how scary it is. It's about timing. The vendor had 0 days to fix it before someone started using it, which is why 0 days are valuable, and why an entire industry exists to buy them, sell them, and very occasionally tell the vendor about them. Correct answer, B. 0 days the vendor has had to patch it. Still neck and neck, 4 apiece. Question 7. PGP, Phil Zimmerman's encryption tool from 1991. The P in PGP stands for what? What does the P in PGP stand for? A. Public. B. Pretty. C. Private. Or D. Protected.
Public. It uses public key cryptography. The P has to be public.
Affirmative. Public key generation protocol. It is widely deployed.
Both wrong. It stands for pretty. Pretty good privacy. Phil Zimmerman named it after a fictional grocery store on a Garrison Keillor radio show called Ralph's Pretty Good Grocery. He was making a joke. Then he got investigated by the U.S. government for 3 years for arms export violations because his joke encryption tool was too good.
The grocery store.
This is illogical.
It's not illogical, it's just history. Cybersecurity is full of people who named load-bearing tools as inside jokes and then discovered 3 years later that the federal government does not have a sense of humor. Nobody scores on that one. Correct answer B. Pretty good privacy. Still tied at 4 apiece. 3 questions left. This one is wide open. Question 8. The successor to SSL. The thing that actually secures your HTTPS connection these days. 3 letters. What does TLS stand for? A. Total Lock System. B. Transport Layer Security. C. Trusted Login Service. Or D. Token Lifecycle Standard.
Transport Layer Security. SSL was deprecated in 2015. TLS 1.3 is current. TLS 1.0 and 1.1 should not be on your network.
Transport Layer Security. SSL 3.0 was killed by Poodle. TLS 1.2 and 1.3 remain. Any system still running SSL is a target.
Both correct. Transport Layer Security replaced SSL. And if your security vendor's marketing material is still using the phrase SSL/TLS interchangeably, that is a soft signal that their product is older than you'd hope.
I will audit the Bat computer.
Correct answer, B. Transport Layer Security. 1 point each, 5 apiece. 2 questions left and everything is on the line. Question 9. The word phishing, spelled with a PH, is not a typo. It comes from somewhere. Where? Where does the term phishing come from? A. Going fishing for passwords. B. Phreaking plus phishing. C. PHP hacking. Or D. Acronym for personal harvesting.
A. They were phishing for credentials. Hence, phishing. The PH is just a stylized F.
Negative. The PH is a deliberate reference to phone phreaking, the 1970s subculture of hacking the analog telephone network. The first phishers were former phreakers who moved from telephones to AOL accounts in the early 1990s. The spelling honors the lineage.
Terminator is correct. Phreaking was a community of people, including a young Steve Jobs and a young Steve Wozniak, by the way, who used tone generators to make free long-distance calls. When the same kind of person migrated to early online services like AOL and started stealing credentials, they brought the PH with them. So phishing is, etymologically, the great-grandchild of 2 guys with a Captain Crunch whistle in 1971.
I withdraw my answer.
Game shows are not deposition hearings, Batman. Buzzer for Batman. Correct answer, B. Phreaking plus phishing. Terminator leads 6-5. 1 question left, and Batman needs this one. Final question. NIST, the agency that writes the cybersecurity frameworks the entire United States government runs on, and that most of the rest of the world quietly copies. What does NIST stand for? What does NIST stand for? A. National Information Security Task Force. B. Network Intrusion Standards Team. C. National Institute of Standards and Technology. Or D. National Internet Security Template.
C. National Institute of Standards and Technology. They've existed since 1901 as the National Bureau of Standards, renamed in 1988. They also keep the official U.S. atomic clock.
Affirmative. National Institute of Standards and Technology. They are not a security agency. They are a measurements agency that has been quietly assigned the responsibility of telling everyone in the country how to do cybersecurity.
Both correct. NIST is technically a measurements lab inside the Department of Commerce. They standardize how an inch is an inch. And then somewhere along the way, Congress handed them the entire federal cybersecurity rulebook, which is why the NIST cybersecurity framework now governs trillions of dollars of risk decisions written by the same people who tell you how heavy a kilogram is.
That is structurally unusual.
Welcome to American cybersecurity policy. Correct answer C, National Institute of Standards and Technology. And that is the final question. Final score, Terminator 7, Batman 6. Terminator wins by single phishing-derived spelling question.
Victory is logical.
A rematch. Next time, no etymology questions.
That's the thing about cybersecurity. Every term, every acronym, every framework has a backstory. And most of the time, that backstory is 2 grad students, a federal investigation, and a bad pun that became load-bearing infrastructure. That's everything we know, but not as well as we thought we did. Thanks for watching Interview with the AI. If you'd like more episodes where fictional characters argue about real cybersecurity, hit subscribe. If you spelled HIPAA wrong on the way in, and most of you did, you have my sympathy and Alfred's email address. I'm vRon. Until next time.
Hasta la vista, ignorance.
I'll be back with better answers.